And so here we're gonna in the next 2 episodes, we're gonna be going over some of the criteria and mindset, and kind of diving into that more, and even some new stuff that we've been thinking about. In fact, in this episode, some of this is brand new stuff that hasn't even made it all the way into the academy yet. And if you had to ask us what our top criteria were for choosing a profitable niche, well, that's what we're gonna give you here today on this episode, free of charge. We are gonna tell you what our top criteria. If you can hit these 3 or 4 criteria, it's a big green light for you to go ahead and dive into to a niche that you've got on your list there. So with that, let's go ahead and talk about what these top criteria are. First and foremost, especially since of the model of business that we're talking about, it's content marketing. You want to have some fresh things to say. You want to have your personality in there. You want to, this is a very long-term business strategy that you can take to the bank for the rest of your life. You want to make sure it's something that you're actually going to, enjoy doing, enjoy learning about, enjoy keeping up on, enjoying teaching about, enjoying making content about. So the number one question is, are you passionate about the niche? Are you passionate about the topic? Is it something, whether it's a hobby or a vocation that you have, or a long time skill that you've worked on, or whether it's just something that you are just interested in getting going on now, brand new. Just ask yourself, is this something that I'm passionate about, that I really want to learn about, and that I can see myself being interested in, even for, in 4 or 5 years, is this something I might still be interested in?
Yeah, and one of the things I was going to mention too, and I get this question from time to time, there are 2 ways to do the internet business thing the way we talk about it. Now, number one, there's what we call the head of the tail, which is what we're talking about here, a passion business, a business that you're passionate about, that you've got, that interest and passion behind it to be able to create the content you'll need to create, and that kind of thing. And it's all about finding the things that will fulfill you, and that's what you want to be a part of. And that's what we teach, here at Internet Business Mastery and at the Academy as well. And then there's another way of doing this particular business too, which is called the long tail. And I guess it's the head of the tail and the long tail we discuss in the Academy a lot, but it's based on a book by, what's his name? Do you remember?
Chris Anderson.
I think it's actually called The Long Tail. But now the long tail part of this kind of a business is just where you pick niches that could just make you money, or niche only, as opposed to being passionate about the idea. And again, what that is just picking something that you want to make money with, but it doesn't mean that you have to have an interest and or a passion at. And there are people that teach that. There's quite a few people that teach just the niche only part. But for us, we just happen to be the type of people that we have to really love what we do. And, part of the reason of not being at a regular business or a regular job is because, we wanted to be a part of something that we were absolutely passionate about. We found fulfillment from, and, it helped us with our purpose in life, basically. So that's what we teach here. And again, sometimes people go, oh, well, I might be afraid of being the head of the business. And a lot of people just teach, go find any niche that's going to make you money. And I just wanted to, say which one we do. And we do the passion business. That's what this particular criteria is going to be about. Is passion and stuff that, make sure that the niche is also viable as well as you're passionate about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's also called like the expert model versus the publisher model,
yep.
Or and when you come to the publisher model, all these little niche sites, I mean, it's more about throwing a whole bunch of stuff against the wall. It's more of a numbers game in a way, and sometimes it's like jumping on flash in the pan kind of niches you can ride for a little while, and then you got to have your other things constantly coming into the pipeline as well. And sometimes one of those will take off and you can ride it for a few years or something. But for all the reasons that Sterling just said, and because there's like this long-term equity in your business, we like the become the brand, build up the community, because that's the kind of thing that it's not a flash in the pan, or you just ride it for a few years. You can ride it for many, 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 many years to come. But obviously that takes a certain level of passion to do. So that's the number one question. Are you passionate about the niche?
Or could you be? Of course, that's the other side of it.
Yeah, I guess. Could you see yourself being passionate about it? Okay, so the next question you have to ask yourself is, I mean, obviously in choosing a niche, you're choosing a target market. You're choosing a certain kind of person that you're trying to reach, a certain kind of person you're going to do business with, the certain kind of person you want to attract to your products and services and content. And that those people consist of your target market. So does the target market, have either an urgent pain, or do they have an irrational passion? So you need to ask yourself, do they have an urgent pain? something that they just, urgently want to solve, or are they irrationally passionate about something? And in both cases, the key here is that it's based on emotion. These are people who have an emotional need or emotional desire, emotional want going on that they're making their decisions based on. So in a couple examples, one example of irrational passion would be golfing. People are mountain biking, or, so lots of little like sports and hobbies, irrational passions, or particular causes people are irrationally passionate about. I mean, if you just think about the things that you're really into, and there's, irrational, you want that kind of people who are just so passionate about something. They'll continuously seek after new stuff, new information. They'll continuously be into spending money on the latest thing. Mac users, Apple fans, iPhone fans. I mean, these people are irrationally passionate about, there's people out there who just want to always have the latest, coolest thing from Apple. And Apple does a great job of building up that irrational passion in their consumers. So if you can find a market that has that kind of irrational passion, it's a very powerful thing. Golfers always looking to shave one more stroke off of their score, or to have the latest, coolest clubs that they can take to the clubhouse, and all their buddies will see them and go, wow, those are, shiny, new, awesome, impress your friends. I mean, it goes down to the basic fundamental desires that we all have: desires to have recognitions, desires to succeed, desires to be happy and secure and free. So is there something that ties into one of those emotions, and the broader umbrella being irrational passion? An urgent pain. Let's see, something that comes to mind. For instance, there's a platinum level client that I'm working with in my New Media Platinum group, and she works with pregnant women who have been put on bed rest. So basically their doctor has said, okay, you got to stay in bed for the next 3 months or you're going to lose the baby that you're carrying. So obviously when you're put in that position, you've got an urgent pain. All of a sudden you've got to still, if you have other kids, maybe you've still got who knows, maybe, first of all, maybe you have a job and it's like, okay, how am I going to handle that? And then maybe you have other kids you're taking care of, and how am I going to handle that? And how am I going to take care of my laundry and and I'm stuck in bed, and okay, I need to get exercise. How am I going to take care of that? And she had been through this experience, and she knew that it's like, man, as soon as I was put on bed rest, there was all these urgent things I had to get taken care of, and I couldn't find good support and services and information on how to take care of those things. And I'm dealing with heartburn as a pregnant woman, and like, how do I take care of that? Like, I don't, so those are urgent pains. There's a good example of one of those. What other things come to mind for you, Sterling?
Well, I mean, even Internet Business Mastery, if you're in a 9-to-5 job that you absolutely hate, that's a pain. That's a pain that you have. And even people that are just like, well, I want to, maybe add $1,000 a month to my income, and I want to create something that brings that in without working a second job outside of the house. That's yet another pain. So if you have those pains, then you go looking for a solution.
So you got to ask yourself, does your market have an urgent pain or an irrational passion? And all the time people will come up to us and say, oh my gosh, I've got a great idea for a business, and it's going to be, I'm going to offer this thing, and it's going to be red, and it's going to come in 5 sizes, and or whatever, and they name it off, and then I immediately go, okay, who's the target market for this? And they usually tell me, oh, okay, it's probably middle-aged women who live mostly in middle America, and they might, actually most of them usually haven't even thought about it that much.
No
let's
way,
say they do. Let's say they even do, and they have a description like, well, probably people who are, X, Y, and Z. And then I go, okay, and are they experiencing an urgent pain? Or are they irrationally passionate? And, sometimes people are like, well, I don't know. Maybe, and so it's an extremely important question to ask yourself. Now, the next thing is say that the answer is yes, there is an urgent pain and or an irrational passion. Then you have to ask yourself, well, is the market proactively searching for a solution? Are they aware of that urgent pain or irrational passion? It might sound funny, but sometimes people have an urgent pain, but they're not, for whatever reason, they're not really looking for the solution to it, or they aren't looking for your solution to it. And it goes back to something we've talked about in the past of like needs versus wants. You might have something you're like, oh, everybody needs this, or all those middle-aged women in middle America, they need this product or service. But the question is, do they really want it? Are they actually looking for it because they have this urgent pain or irrational passion? They're aware of it, and they're out there looking for the solution for it right now. Because if your market's not actively looking, well, you're going to have a hard time, a much harder time getting their attention. And you're going to have to talk them into the fact that they actually want what it is that you're offering. So ask yourself, is this just a need, or is it actually a want? Is there that desire, and they're out there actually looking for the thing to fulfill that desire?
Yeah,